The cyber attack landscape makes news every day. We hear about large breaches at Target or Anthem Health. But the reality is, while those make news, 70% of cyber attacks hit small to mid-sized businesses. The repercussions of those can be quite different than a large enterprise. When you hear about these at a large enterprise, there's a financial cost, there's a legal cost, there's a reputation cost. Small businesses, it usually costs the business. A major cyber attack that compromises a small business, 50% of them are out of business within 3 years after that event. In response to cyber attacks, small businesses are changing what they do in terms of systems monitoring, security, and user security. They are looking at these high-profile attacks in the news and saying, how could this impact me? Increasingly, they're turning to the expertise of managed service providers who can help them solve those problems. The reality is, while we have this impression of that there are state-sponsored attacks with supercomputers and CSI types of things, that they're very complex, most of the actual exploits or data breaches are due to simple things that can be fixed by keeping systems patched and up to date, keeping antivirus and anti-malware up to date, and protecting end-user security, logins, passwords, and credentials. It's the sizzle that you hear on the news sounds very exotic and something a small business couldn't combat. But the reality is, the actual attacks are relatively simple, and they're based on things that are wide open, that fixes are available for today. So often, especially in the SMB market, we are so busy with our day-to-day, getting our jobs done, making our own end users and customers happy, that we don't look at what is the downside for business continuity. Simply planning business continuity is something large enterprises do. But I would say that it's actually more important for an SMB because they have less space for error if there are problems. If we look at simple things, we look at the other way of things. What if I came in tomorrow and my systems were all down due to ransomware, or all down due to a network failure, or all down due to a disaster? How would my small business recover? Well, first and foremost, don't let it happen. There are very simple ways to do that. And an example of some of the things Kaseya does on a regular basis, using systems monitoring, we can see, is your server that runs your business and that all your processing for your end users are done on, is it about to keel over because the disk is about to fail because it's 99% full? What if you knew about that beforehand? What if you were able to stop a cyber attack because you detected ransomware and blocked it? What if your end users had two-factor authentication, so they're not just dependent on passwords, and your passwords were hacked? Those things have been stopped by Kaseya because they can't happen. And lastly, perhaps one of the most overlooked things for small businesses, are we backing up our systems and endpoints, and are we storing it at another site? If we come in, we can't get to the office because of an actual natural physical disaster, or a technology disaster, or a cyber attack, could we continue to do business elsewhere? Can we recover ourselves? The technology is very simple. The price have been driven significantly down, and those are things that SMBs really need to take stock in, because if you don't have access, look at worst case scenario, regardless of what the cause is, can you recover and do business in the meantime? And the answer to that is yes, the technology exists, the price is certainly achievable for an SMB, and managed service providers provide the technology expertise to make it happen.